We are back out on the road and we are heading to Italy. We're so excited about this one. It's going to be such an amazing adventure. Welcome back to Adventure Wheels, welcome to Italy, and more specifically, welcome to Lake Maggiore. Coming up in this episode, we're going to be exploring this area before moving on to Venice and then driving across to the Dolomites mountain range. As usual for these adventures, we've brought with us our wheelchair accessible touring caravan. We've crossed the channel with Le Shuttle through the Eurotunnel, spent a few days driving down through France, through the stunning Chamonix Valley, and then through the Mont Blanc Tunnel into Italy. We've now found ourselves at the Caravan and Motorhome Club's foreign site, Camping Village Lago Maggiore, which is a fantastic site with some great facilities. So without further ado, let's head out and start exploring. It's our first day out exploring Italy today, and we're going to get a lay of the land and see a bit more of Lake Maggiore. After being sat on the motorway for the past couple of days, we're really looking forward to seeing a little bit more. Okay, so first impressions of Italy are great. It's like we've stepped into another world. It's like an absolute paradise here. We found ourselves in the beautiful town of Laveno, had a nice little wander around and soaked up the atmosphere, and of course found some gelato, which was absolutely out of this world. And then we noticed there was a car ferry going across to the other side of the lake, so we've just got a ticket and we've driven onto the ferry and we're waiting for it to depart. And I'm not really sure where we're going to end up, to be honest. I think it goes to another town called Intra. We were thinking about driving up Mount Mottarone this afternoon, but we can see from where we're sat right now that the top of the mountain is covered in cloud, so I think we need to do that tomorrow. But yeah, what a wonderful place this is, and an excellent first taste of Italy. Okay, so 15-20 minutes later we've arrived in Intra, and we think the clouds shifted a bit, so we are going to head up the mountain after all and have a look to see what we can see. So we've just parked at the top of Mount Mottarone and we found a trail which takes us up to a viewing platform. Carla says it's about 1/4 mile long. The path is a little bit bumpy, so we're taking it slow, and the cloud is clearing up a little bit now. So hopefully when we get there the view should be really good. So we made it to the top and we feel like we are on top of the world. The views from up here are absolutely incredible. You can see for miles and miles and miles, right down to the ferry where we were earlier and right across Lake Maggiore. The other side of the mountain is completely covered in clouds, so we can only see this side, but they say on a good day you can see 7 lakes from here. In terms of accessibility, not really sure whether to recommend it or not, to be honest. We did it, but it was really bumpy and really steep. It was quite challenging for Carla in her wheelchair, but thankfully right near the top it did get really smooth all of a sudden. We're just going to enjoy these views for a little bit longer, and then we'll start making our way back down to the car and back to the campsite, and then come up with a plan for tomorrow before we hitch up and head to Venice. We are back out exploring today, and we've driven around the other side of Lake Maggiore, and we're on our way to find the Botanic Gardens at Villa Taranto, and then later we're going to be on a mission to find some pizza and some gelato, so it should be a good day. We've just arrived here at the gardens at Villa Taranto. We've checked in at the ticket office and they've given us a map, and there's a really good marked out accessible route, so we're currently following that up. It is quite a long windy uphill path, so those of you who have manual wheelchairs might find that a little bit more challenging, but Carla's power chair is managing perfectly well, and the views from up here looking down across Lake Maggiore are stunning. I wish we hadn't bothered with that massive mountain yesterday. Anyway, we're going to carry on following this path a little bit more, and that will hopefully bring us to the main features of the gardens. Well, what a place this is. I almost can't put it into words. It is so beautiful, so Italian, and from our perspective so good for accessibility as well. There's such a huge variety of plants here, so yeah, definitely one to add to your itineraries if you're ever in this area. But yeah, let's head back to the car and onwards with our quest to find pizza and gelato. Okay, so mission completed. We stopped off at the Laveno on the way back to the campsite, where we've just had the best pizza, looking out across Lake Maggiore as the sun was setting on the hills surrounding us. It's such a beautiful place to stop. And now we've driven slightly further around, closer to the campsite, and now we're in Stresa, which is one of the largest towns on Lake Maggiore, and we've just had the best gelato whilst walking along the promenade here. Anyway, we're going to head back to the campsite now for a good night's sleep, and then tomorrow we're going to be hitching up and moving on to a different campsite closer to Venice, where the adventure will continue. Okay, so onwards and eastwards, we've just hitched up the caravan and we're very sad to leave the campsite there at Lago Maggiore. It was such a wonderful site and we did so much whilst we were there. Lake Maggiore is actually Italy's second largest lake at approximately 40 miles long. So we were never going to see everything. But we've got about a 200+ mile drive ahead of us today as we get ourselves closer to the campsite in Venice. Good evening everyone, and that was only about 250 miles today, but for some reason it felt like it was taking forever. But we are so happy to have arrived at our next campsite, which is Camping Village, which is here on the Cavallino Treporti Peninsula, probably not pronounced correctly. This is one of those campsites that we've literally wanted to come to for such a long time. I think we've wanted to come here before we even brought the caravan. So we're so happy to be here, and it is such a big site. By a country mile, it's the largest campsite we've ever been to. There's some great facilities here and there's so much to do, we don't even need to leave the campsite. There's also direct access onto the beach, and they have an accessible mat which has been put down so Carla could get right to the sand, and you can also borrow beach wheelchairs to go into the sea if you want to. But yeah, there's takeaway places, restaurants, play parks, a massive swimming pool. There's a huge supermarket on the campsite as well, and yeah, the guest services here are so good as well. The people know so much about the area, and we were able to talk to them about going into Venice, which we're going to be doing tomorrow. So we're really excited about that. But yeah, right now we're just going to have a quiet evening and then an early start tomorrow, and then we'll go and see Venice. Good morning. We have just driven 10 minutes down the road from the campsite to Ponte Sabbione, and we're on board the water taxi heading to Venice. We're aiming for St Mark's Square and we've picked up the 14 line, so hopefully it's going to be a really good day. We have just landed off the boat here in Venice and we've walked to St Mark's Square. Totally blown away by this place so far. There's quite a good network of accessible bridges which brought us here, which was really handy, and we passed on the way the Bridge of Sighs, which is quite famous. But yeah, looking forward to getting stuck in and having an explore around this place. We've just been into Basilica di San Marco, which is the massive cathedral here in St. Mark's Square. A strategy for being in Venice, I think, is to look up, because there is so much attention to detail that they put into the ceilings. We entered the cathedral through the wheelchair accessible entrance at the side, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not entirely sure what went on. I was expecting to have to get tickets, but they saw Carla in her wheelchair and they just let us straight in. But yeah, it was really nice to go and have a look. Just been inside Doge's Palace, which is the massive building that you might be able to see behind us. It's actually formerly where the government of Venice used to be based, and is an absolutely spectacular building. What I was saying earlier about looking up when you're in Venice certainly rung true there. It has one of the largest rooms in Europe, and the paintings on the ceilings were absolutely incredible. In terms of accessibility, we could access most areas, and we were escorted around the building through the lifts which were there. One small note just to mention is that I'm wearing quite a big backpack today, and security at the entrance got a bit funny about it, so they weren't going to let us in. But when I explained that I needed a massive backpack because of all the medical equipment that we have to carry for Carla, they were a bit more relaxed about it, and I was able to carry it around the building. But yeah, that's just a heads up for you guys if you're ever here. Anyway, it's getting a little bit late in the afternoon now, and we've seen some great stuff this afternoon, but I think it's time to get lost in some of these little side streets and see where we end up. The sun is starting to set here in Venice. All the twinkly lights are coming on, and we have just enjoyed a lovely dinner at one of the waterfront restaurants here. We've got to try and find our way back to catch the water bus now, but yeah, what a wonderful, incredible place to experience. I just cannot sum it up into words what it was like coming to Venice. Yeah, Carla was just saying it's quite an intense atmosphere, but after being here for about half an hour we started to settle into it. In terms of accessibility, Carla did download an accessible map of Venice before we came here, and when you looked at the map it looked like we'd hardly be able to see anything. There was only a small section of accessible bridges, but actually coming here and being in that space and following that bridge network made us realise actually how much we could see. And it was also so much fun to sort of get lost around those little lanes, and it really truly felt like we experienced Venice. The public transport system here, the water buses and everything, was actually described as one of the most accessible public transport places in Europe, and it really was so easy to catch the water bus from Punta Sabbione to Venice here. But yeah, what a wonderful, wonderful place. Yeah, we're gonna sleep well tonight. We have just had such a relaxing day here at Camping Village after such a busy day yesterday in Venice. We've just cooked our favourite dinner, spaghetti al pomodoro, under the canopy in the fresh air, al fresco style. It was actually a dish that we were learning in the run-up to coming to Italy, just because we always like the idea of cooking it here in Italy. But one final note about visiting Venice that we forgot to mention to you yesterday was that the public transport, the ferries, the water buses were so accessible, but it is worth pointing out that due to the different sort of tide heights, the jetties, the ramps leading up to the boat can sort of vary in steepness. It was a little bit steep when we were there, so Carla's chair did need a little bit of a push, but other than that we managed absolutely fine. But I thought it might be worth just mentioning to you guys just to give you the heads up. But yeah, our adventure is far from over. Tomorrow we are hitching up the caravan and we are so excited to be heading to the Dolomites mountain range. We are back out on the road today and we are leaving the Cavallino Trapporti Peninsula and the Venice Lagoon, and today we've got about 120 miles to drive to get us to the Dolomites. I was planning the route last night, and as we get closer to our next campsite the scenery is going to get absolutely spectacular. We've got hairpin bends, waterfalls on the side of the road all ahead of us, so we can't wait to get there. We have arrived and set up here in the Dolomites, and that journey up into the hills was incredible. The scenery just got better and better. The campsite we found is called Camping Sexton, which we've booked through the Caravan Motorhome Club's foreign travel service. It's a 5-star site surrounded by mountains, and it's so nice here that I'm quite happy here. I'm not bothered about going out and doing anything. The toilet block facilities and the disabled wet room is one of the nicest we've come across, and they have so many facilities here. There's a restaurant, a takeaway, a tavern, a swimming pool and spa, and there's even a lookout tower where you can admire the views. But yeah, what a fab site. Well, we've managed to tear ourselves away from this beautiful campsite and we're heading into the Dolomites to explore for the first time today. We're aiming for the 3 peaks of Laveno, which is apparently an amazing viewpoint looking out to the mountains. So we've made it here to the 3 peaks, which you might be able to see behind us. The rock formation formed over 200 million years ago, and apparently it's one of the most famous landmarks here in the Dolomites. I'm not really sure why it's called the 3 peaks, because it only really looks like there's 2 and maybe like a third smaller one at the side, but according to all the signage here there is apparently 3 peaks. But this whole area really reminds us of being in the Pyrenees, because the drive to the viewpoint was as scenic and as stunning as the viewpoint itself. But anyway, we've got one more place that we want to visit this afternoon. We have just arrived here at Lake Braze and we parked in the car park, which is apparently free for blue badge holders and disabled people. We've enjoyed the views of the lake from the shore and the views are just unbelievable. The colour of the water is just, I cannot describe it. I just hope that it comes out on camera so you guys can see it as well. We noticed a path going around the edge of the lake, so we've just picked up that path and we're following it around. Not entirely sure if it's accessible and whether or not we'll be able to make it round the whole way. Some of it is a bit steep in parts, but we'll see how we go. So we're back at the car now and we made it about 3/4 of the way around one side of the lake before we decided to turn back. It was getting quite steep and it also looked like it was about to rain. And then as we were coming back it did start to rain, so it was quite good we turned back. I zoomed in on the other side of the lake with my camera just to try and see what the path was like, and it also looked like it was very steep around that side as well, and it looked like there was steps. We couldn't tell for sure, but we didn't really want to get all the way around just to realise there were steps and then have to come all the way back. But we did actually see more than enough just from the shore where we started off, so I don't think we really needed to do much of a walk anyway. But yeah, with the Three Peaks viewpoint earlier and then the lake here, what an incredible place this is. Absolutely beautiful here. So yesterday we visited the Three Peaks of Laveno viewpoint, but we realised that you can actually drive up the side of the mountain and there's a massive car park at the top. So that's what we're doing now. We're nearly at the top, but yeah, the views are amazing already. We have just arrived at the top and parked the car, and oh my goodness, this place is incredible. We are now 7,700 feet up and we are as high as the clouds. The views are incredible and it's such a beautiful day today in the sunshine. So we're just going to take some time and wander around and yeah, just soak up this atmosphere and these views for a little bit longer. But yeah, what an incredible place, and how accessible that we've literally just driven up here in the car. Well, what a place this is. We've just had a lovely time wandering around, soaking up those views, and there's also a restaurant and a hotel at the top here. So we dived into the cafe for a nice sandwich and a coffee with the views looking out to the hills surrounding us. Today's weather forecast could not have been more perfect, but as we were walking back to the car, the clouds did descend on us. So it's worth mentioning that if you are going to come here yourselves, then try and do it on the best day for the weather, but also bear in mind that it could constantly change as well, being up at this altitude. We're here in 2025 and it looks like for this year the toll roads driving up here have implemented a new reservation system where instead of just turning up and paying, you have to book in advance online. So last night I booked one of the last few places for us to come up here. You reserve a 12-hour slot and then you can sort of come whenever you want and then just take your time. It is free for disabled people, so I punched in Carla's blue badge number online and it all seemed to work okay, and then there's an automatic number plate recognition system when you arrive, so we were waved straight through, which was really good. Carla's also just reminded me that when we were driving into the campsite the other day, there was a waterfall that we passed. I couldn't pull in there with the caravan on the back of the car, so we're just going to go and have a look before we head back to the campsite. So hopefully you can hear us okay over the loud noise of the massive waterfall behind us. But this is Cascata del Pisendolo, hopefully pronounced correctly. Normally we have to work really hard to try and find a waterfall which is wheelchair accessible, and if we find one then it's normally a mission to get there, but this one's literally just on the side of the road and has barely taken any effort to get to. But yeah, it's just absolutely magnificent, and what a brilliant way to end the day, and what a brilliant way to end our time here in the Dolomites. Well, we've made it back to the caravan for our last night in the Dolomites, and indeed our last night in Italy. But what a trip this has been. Before we left, I was actually a bit worried that just coming to northern Italy we wouldn't really feel like we've done much of Italy, but being here, the majestic Lake Maggiore, that amazing day we had in Venice, and now the Dolomites, it really has felt like we've immersed ourselves in Italy. We've just been trying to decide what our favourite part of the trip was. Carla said that the entire trip was just an absolute blast. I really liked Venice. That was an absolute highlight. I'm not normally a city person, I don't normally enjoy that sort of stuff, but maybe it was just a relief that it all went well from an accessibility perspective. But yeah, what a day that was. But yeah, we feel so lucky and so grateful that we've been able to come on a trip like this. It's been absolutely amazing, and we're so happy that you've joined us as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that. I really hope that it has inspired you to maybe travel further afield. I really hope that it's shown you that an accessible caravan or even a motorhome is a brilliant way to travel. Tomorrow we're going to be hitching up, and we've got about 9,500 miles to drive back to England, so we won't show you much of that. But yeah, in the meantime, keep exploring, and we will see you again very soon.